we're gonna go from like one of the worst teams in that division to one of the best here in Calgary. So with Calgary, there was a big extension the other day. His man was Jonathan Huberdeau. What did you think of it?
I think Huberdeau signing that extension means that they sold him on their idea for the long run, right? The team has already been exciting. Obviously, with the loss of Gaudreau, everybody was kind of questioning where the team is going to go, and I think with the addition of Huberdeau, it's one of those where, okay, we brought in a similar type of player that can score, that can do stuff, whatnot. Now he's here for the long run. Now it kind of gives everybody that, okay, we don't have to worry about him leaving or wanting to leave or anything like that. It really gives, not only does it solidify what their plans are for the next couple of years, but it also boosts the team morale, that he believes in the team so much that he's willing to sign a long contract. And it's not even that much for a player that just put up 100+ points last season. He is only getting paid 5.9 million, right? And that's not a lot. That's not, and he could be the face of this team. He's not like, they're not doing the Toronto thing where they're going to pay 3 players over $10 million.
And never win. The thing here is, I'll read the article a little bit here. The Calgary Flames have locked in their top offensive player for the foreseeable future. In the dwindling hours of Thursday evening, the Flames put out the finishing touches on the club's most important piece of the business in years, reportedly agreeing to terms with forward Jonathan Huberdeau on a massive 8-year contract extension worth an annual average of $10.5 million. The details of the deal, which now ties Huberdeau to Calgary through 2029 through 2030 season, has such that salary structure and the inclusion of any trade production have yet to be reported. So, long story short, you had a phenomenal season with 115 points last season, 85 assists, 30 goals, right? 10.5 per year. Hey, that's a lot for a guy that's literally 29, and that at the end of the deal will be, 37 years old?
Yeah.
But I think the last 2 years of that contract, they'll probably regret. But I think for the future, you're going to have him for his prime years. I think Huberdeau is a player who's a playmaker. So I think he'll have a longer shelf life, if that makes sense. I don't think he's been one of these guys that flames out. I think he's been one of these guys that kind of really ages gracefully. And I could be incorrect, but if you look at a guy like Huberdeau, it just seems like he's a consistent point producer. Looking at his stats here last year, 115 points. That is definitely the biggest outlier out of all of them. But the season before, 61 points in 55 games. That's over a point per game. 78 points in 69 games played, right? It seems like in the season before that, 92 points in 82 games. He's over a point per game player within the last 4 seasons. And obviously that's an upward trend. And if he can stay healthy, I think that's a good deal for them. But it is hard to lock these guys up for these long terms, and usually towards the back end of the deal, you're going to be regretting it. So what are your thoughts on Jonathan Huberdeau? Do you think this is a smart deal?
Well, obviously,
bad deal?
I honestly think it's a very good deal. Again, it takes away from losing someone like Johnny Gaudreau, because you bring in a guy who's producing the same way at the moment, right? And you hope that you don't miss a stride, right? That's the idea. You hope that, okay, cool, so that's still there. Because the team was a good team all last season. Obviously, they flopped in the playoffs. They got shut out. How I forgot how badly they lost, but they lost.
Pretty bad. Yeah,
right? They completely just got blanked. And now you bring in someone else, same caliber, maybe a little bit of a different style. And then you keep on building. You bring in some players that can help solidify some of the other lines. You look at their fourth line according to this, right? And they bring in a Kevin Rooney, as a free agent who for the Rangers played like a utility Swiss knife, right? He kind of just played left wing, right wing, center, but he was always a very good defensive player, always very good on the penalty kill. So you can count on him to always show up, grind it out, play defensively, be one of the top penalty killers on your team. So that way your stars can get a little bit more rest and, obviously be more effective on a 5-5. And then, pair him with Lucic. That's a grinding out line, right?
Yeah, that's a line that's going to be kind of thumping some bodies. Like that, it's going to be doing real. And I think, I think the Elias Lindholm, Tyler Toffoli with Jonathan Huberdeau should be a pretty electric line. Mm-hmm. They're going to put up some points. I think Toffoli, you can get a little bit more out of him. Mm-hmm. Just because I think the pedigree's there and he's only 30 years old. But kind of before we go into the breakdown of the team, I'll say I like the Huberdeau deal just because I feel bad for some Canadian teams because they keep losing players because they don't want to be stuck in a Canadian market where they're losing. Mm-hmm. And I think Calgary isn't that far away from being a contender. Mm-hmm. But I think overall it was a good deal for Huberdeau to kind of get locked up so that Flame fans have something to be excited for.
Yeah.
Because you lose Goudreau, you lose Kachuk, and it's like are we going to keep anyone? And finally you're seeing some guy commit to the Calgary Flames.